The trauma of the past 20 years has washed over me again. These are the words, viewers, of Bilkis Bano. 2 days after 11 rapists and murderers were released, Bilkis Bano, who was just 21, when the marauders, when her violators unleashed havoc, is once again forced to relive the pain. The pain of being brutally gang raped when she was 5 months pregnant. The pain of seeing her three-year-old daughter being murdered by one of those now roaming free. Her own mother raped and brutalized. The pain of watching in horror as 7 members of her family were butchered by those blinded by hate. 20 years later, the fear is back to haunt Bilkis and her family. In a heart-wrenching statement, she now pleads for a right to live in peace without fear. Viewers, she has come out and said that her faith in justice is shaken. I trusted the system. Every rape and murder convict needs to face justice. It is non-application of mind on grossness of the crime. Trauma of the past washed over me again. Give me back my right to live without fear. Viewers, these are some of the sentiments that she has penned. Her husband Yaqub says our pain and fear is now increased. Her lawyer says every rape and murder convict will now seek remission. It is non-application of mind on grossness of the crime. Viewers, what happened here? One of the convicted moved a plea in the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court entertains the plea. The plea was for remission of sentence. As you know, the life term is interpreted differently in different parts of this country. It could be 14 years, 21 years, or then it could be right up till your dying last breath. Viewers, because the Supreme Court entertained this plea and said to the state to set up a panel, the panel very quickly came out, and not only did it give remission to that one person, but all the other 10 convicted of this despicable act. 11 lifers now are free, and they were garlanded by the VHP. Quite clearly, viewers, there is outrage. Listen in to the reactions that have been coming on this turn of events, which is very unfortunate. Listen to these reactions, viewers.
कि उस रेमिशन पॉलिसी की रिव्यू कमेटी में कौन था? एक का नाम था जनाब मुलचंदानी साहब, जो गोधरा के राइट्स में वो एक प्रोसिक्यूशन के विटनेस थे, और दूसरे उसमें बीजेपी भाजपा के 2 एमएलए थे. तो आप इनसे इंसाफ की कैसे उम्मीद रखते हैं रिव्यू कमेटी की?
We shouldn't have any well wishers like Mr. Modi for women, because if this is what he does when he wishes well for ladies, can you imagine what will happen if he wishes bad? Remove this BJP 2 MLAs from their party, and Mr. Modi should dismiss them, but he will not do it. He will never do it, because for them this was an election winning strategy.
Viewers, what to make of this? The Supreme Court, if the state doesn't rectify this, the state government of Gujarat doesn't rectify this, then the Supreme Court must immediately step in. I want to open this up, and I want to begin with Vinod Bansal, national spokesperson of the VHP, Advocate Rishi Malhotra, lawyer of the Convicts, Tehseen Poonawalla is there with us. Dr. Ranganathan is also part of this panel. Questions need to be asked. Vinod Bansal Saab, you can argue that the panel was set up on the direction of the Supreme Court, that the panel interpreted the law rightly or wrongly, but gave these people remission, remitted their sentences, released them. But sir, why did the VHP garland these people? ये heroes कैसे बन गए? कॉन्विक्स हीरोज कैसे बन जाते हैं? कॉन्विक्स जिन्होंने बलात्कार किया, रेप किया, जिन्होंने एक मासूम बच्ची की हत्या की, कई और लोगों को मारा, हाउ डू दीज कॉन्विक्स बिकम हीरोज? कैन यू एक्सप्लेन दिस टू मी?
राहुल जी, सबसे पहले तो मैं प्रश्न पूछना चाहूंगा कि आपके प्रश्न का जवाब देने से पहले कि टाइम्स नाउ को ये कैसे पता लगा कि विश्व हिंदू परिषद ने उसको गारलैंड किया था और विश्व हिंदू परिषद ने मिठाइयां खिलाई थी? और एक बात, दूसरी बात ये कि आप मुझे बताइए कि ये कन्विक्ट जिसको कन्विक्शन हो गया, कोर्ट ने सजा दे दी, सजा प्राप्त करने के बाद में वो व्यक्ति उसी सुप्रीम कोर्ट के कहने पर आया और आफ्टर फॉलोइंग द ड्यू प्रोसेस ऑफ द लॉ, तो उसके बावजूद भी क्या वो अपराधी जिंदगी भर अपराधी रहेगा क्या? क्या वो जो अगर किसी ने कोई पाप किया था वो जिंदगी भर पापी रहेगा क्या? तीसरी बात ये बड़ी महत्वपूर्ण है,
वो हीरो तो नहीं बनेगा ना?
नहीं, मैं कहता हूँ हीरो नहीं, बात हीरो
नहीं, वो हीरो तो नहीं बनेगा ना?
राहुल जी, मेरी बात का जवाब सुनेंगे जरा? Should I tell you something?
No, you please tell me, but I'm asking you. Okay, fine. They have a second opportunity to live a life. I understand that, but do they become heroes in the eyes of the public? And I want to ask you: is Arvind Sisodia a member of the VHP? Yes or no?
No, मेरी बात पूरी नहीं हुई actually. राहुल जी, let me complete my statement.
Okay. Yes, go ahead.
हाँ, मैं कह रहा हूँ, देखिए, अगर कोई व्यक्ति जेल से बाहर आता है और इतने सालों के बाद आता है, तो उसके परिजन, उसके मित्र रिश्तेदार, उसके पड़ोसी अगर उसको स्वागत करते हैं, अगर उसको मिठाई खिलाते हैं, तो उसमें कौन सा पाप किया भाई? कौन सा अपराध किया? ये मुझे बताइए। समाज को या व्यक्ति को या परिवार को क्या कोई खुशी मनाने से भी कोई रोकेगा क्या?
सर, ये वीएचपी के ऑफिस में ये हुआ या नहीं हुआ? मैं आपसे एक छोटा सवाल पूछ रहा हूं। ये वीएचपी के ऑफिस में हुआ, कार्यालय में हुआ गारलैंडिंग सेरेमनी? यस, नो? वेलकम वीएचपी के ऑफिस में हुआ या नहीं हुआ? सर
राहुल जी, मैं ये पूछना चाहता हूं कि आपके पास क्या प्रूफ है कि वीएचपी के ऑफिस में हुआ? मैं चैलेंज के साथ कहता हूं कि वीएचपी के ऑफिस में अगर आप ये कह रहे हैं,
अरविंद सिसोदिया आपके मेंबर नहीं है वीएचपी के? वीएचपी के मेंबर नहीं है अरविंद सिसोदिया साहब?
नहीं, मैं नहीं जानता उनको कौन अरविंद सिसोदिया साहब कौन है, लेकिन क्वेश्चन ये कि आपके पास ये प्रूफ कहां से आया कि वीएचपी के मेंबर हैं? मुझे बड़ा ताज्जुब हो रहा है।
ओके,
आप बताइए। देखिए, जिस मातृशक्ति के लिए विश्व हिंदू परिषद लड़ रहा है, हम तो उन मातृशक्ति को बचाने की बात कर रहे हैं।
तो फिर मैं आपसे एक सवाल पूछता हूं,
लेकिन मैं
क्या उनका, तो ठीक है, मैं आपसे एक सवाल पूछता हूं, मैं आपको अभी जवाब दूंगा, मैं आपको जवाब दूंगा। एक मिनट
पहले आपको ये
बंसल साहब, एक मिनट, एक सेकेंड
विश्व हिंदू परिषद को हर जगह घसीटना ठीक बात नहीं है।
ओके,
जब जो है 59 कार सेवकों को जिंदा जलाया गया था, उस समय कोई नहीं बोला, और उस समय माँ बहन की इज्जत की बात नहीं आई। जब मासूम बच्चों
बंसल साहब 1 मिनट, 1 सेकेंड, देखिए, आप डाइवर्ट कर रहे हैं इशू।
नो, मैं डाइवर्ट नहीं कर रहा।
आप सुनिए तो सही, आप मेरी बात तो सुनिए प्लीज। गिव मी 30 seconds.
Okay.
This channel has been one of the first and few channels who has advocated for justice for the people who were burnt in the train bogie also. Okay? So I don't need any certificates of fairness from anybody. No, 1 second. Secondly, मैंने आपको रोका नहीं, आपकी बात बोली, आपने बोला ठीक है, हमारे ऑफिस में नहीं थे, हमारा मेंबर भी नहीं था, ये कोई थे, हमारे कोई लगते नहीं है, ठीक है?
नहीं, मैंने ये नहीं कहा। मैं कहना चाहता हूं, टाइम्स नाउ ने विश्व हिंदू परिषद का नाम किस रेस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी के साथ लिया? आप कह रहे हैं कि हम फेक न्यूज नहीं फैलाते।
तमाम हमारे जो रिपोर्टर्स हैं, उन्होंने जो रिपोर्ट भेजी है, तमाम मीडिया यही कह रही है। अब सब गलत हैं तो सर इत्तेफाक होगा ऑफ मॉन्यूमेंटल प्रोपोर्शंस, सभी मीडिया आपके खिलाफ होंगे। चलिए सर, ये अगर आपका कहना है तो ठीक है, ये आपका कहना है तो ठीक है सर।
राहुल जी, दो बातें बड़ी महत्वपूर्ण हैं।
1 सेकेंड,
चुनिंदा 2 न्यूज चैनल, 2 इंग्लिश चैनलों के अलावा किसी ने ये फेक प्रोपेगेंडा नहीं चलाया। I'm sorry to say like this.
Okay, fine. Let me ask you, do these gentlemen deserve remission? Yes or no? Does
it has
this
to be decided by the court? Neither you or nor me.
Okay, decided by the court. No, it was decided by a state panel which had 2 members of the BJP, 2 MLAs.
Not at all. No.
Of course it did. Don't deny everything here. Okay, let me, no, 1 second. Let me tell you, no, 1 minute. Let's put out the names. Let's put out the names. 1 second. Sujal Mayatra, 1 second. He is Godhra collector and DM, chairman of the committee. CJ Rahul ji, BJP MLA. Suman Chauhan, BJP MLA. Murli Mulchandani, former Godhra municipal councillor from BJP. Sneha Bhatia, BJP women's wing worker.
तो गवर्नमेंट तो बीजेपी की है, उसको हटा दो आप।
तो बहुत कन्वीनियंट हो गया ना, लोग कहेंगे।
नहीं, बात कन्वीनियंट की नहीं है।
ठीक है, लेट मी ओपन दिस अप। मैं अपनी बात नहीं रखूंगा, लेट्स लिसन। ठीक है, आपने अपनी बात रखी है, लेट मी गेट द रिस्पॉन्सेज फ्रॉम अदर साइड आल्सो, फ्रॉम ऑल साइड्स। मेरी बात तो सुनिए, लेट्स गेट द रिस्पॉन्स, लेट्स गेट द रिस्पॉन्स
और सजा दिलाने का।
लेट्स गेट द रिस्पॉन्स। मिस्टर संजय हेगड़े इज देयर, ही इज अ लॉयर। मिस्टर हेगड़े, वुड यू लाइक टू रिस्पॉन्ड टू मिस्टर बंसल? व्हाट्स द बिग डील? Due process, the law has been followed in letter. Forget about the spirit. Please respond, sir.
Well, the first thing is that the Supreme Court, please don't drag it in unnecessarily. There was a petition in the Supreme Court by Rishi Malhotra for one of the accused, saying that, look, I have spent 15 years. Please ask the state to consider my remission. The Supreme Court judgment decided only two things. First is that the remission policy of 1992 would apply, and secondly, it said, please consider it. Now, when a court says consider it, it does not mean grant it. Any policy of remission also has to take into account what would be the social impact, what would be the message.
What a logic.
And
the Supreme Court is not competent enough to judge the social impact of the decision.
Well, sir, I'm sorry. I practice in the Supreme Court. I think that the Supreme Court has powers to at least interpret the Constitution. And while we are at it, it's like me saying that you don't speak for all Hindus. How are you?
No.
Vishwa Hindu Parishad.
No, but you cannot allegate the honorable Supreme Court of the country.
Bansal Saab, please don't speak over Hegde Saab. 1 minute, and let me go across to our reporter who is joining us live, and I'm going to bring him in. Can I ask you a small question? आप बता सकते हैं कि ये जो फेलिसिटेशन सेरेमनी हुई कहां पर हुई? क्या ये वीएचपी ऑफिस में हुई, कार्यालय में हुई या नहीं हुई?
देखिए सर, ये जो पूरा मामला है ये विश्व हिंदू परिषद का जो कार्यालय है वहां पे किया गया था। जैसे ही ये विशेष तौर से राधेश्याम शाह नाम के जो मुख्य जिन्होंने पिटीशन की थी सुप्रीम कोर्ट में, उनका स्वागत समारोह जो है वो विश्व हिंदू परिषद के कार्यालय में किया गया था। विश्व हिंदू परिषद के कार्यकर्ता वहां पर जो प्रदेश के माफ करिएगा वहां के जो गोधरा के जो कार्यकर्ता हैं वो वहां पर मौजूद थे। उनके द्वारा हारफोल किया गया, स्वागत कराया गया, मिठाई खिलाई गई और ये पूरा जो कार्यक्रम है वो विश्व हिंदू परिषद का जो गोधरा का कार्यालय वहां पे ही किया गया था। जी, तो
विनोद बंसल साहब कह रहे हैं कि हम गलत फेक न्यूज का प्रचार कर रहे हैं, आप उनको कैसे जवाब देंगे आज?
देखिए ये पूरा मामला है और स्वयं जो इस मामले के ये जो 11 जो जितने भी लोग छूटे हैं वो 11 के 11 लोगों को गोधरा से अभी हटा दिया गया है। उनमें से कोई भी व्यक्ति गोधरा के अंदर मौजूद नहीं है। साथ ही साथ जो ये राधेश्याम जी ने जो इंटरव्यू दिया था, जो गुजराती में उन्होंने कहा था, वो भी वहां पर मौजूद नहीं है जिन्होंने पिटीशन की थी। दूसरी बात, ये जो आरोप विश्व हिंदू परिषद की तरफ से लगाया जा रहा है वो बिल्कुल गलत है और स्वयं विश्व हिंदू परिषद के जो नेता हैं वहां पर मौजूद थे, उनके द्वारा ही ये स्वागत किया गया था और उसकी पुष्टि भी हुई है और स्वयं उनके कार्यालय में हुआ है, जिसके फोटोग्राफ सामने आए हैं। राधेश्याम की मोबाइल बाइट जो है वो सामने आई, जिसके अंदर वो कह रहे हैं कि जो शुभेच्छक जिन्होंने मेरा साथ दिया और इस मौके पे मेरा स्वागत करने के लिए आए, मैं उनका सभी का धन्यवाद कहता हूं। और इस तरह के आरोप जो विनोद बंसल जी की तरफ से जो लगाए जा रहे हैं वो गलत हैं और अगर उन्हें वो देखना है तो हमारे पास में उसकी वीडियो रिकॉर्डिंग्स हैं, फोटोग्राफ्स हैं, इमेजेस हैं, आप उन्हें वो शो कर सकते हैं और वहाँ के जो लोकल गोधरा के जो कार्यकर्ता विश्व हिंदू परिषद के हैं वो साफ साफ हैं और उनकी तरफ से ही ये स्वागत किया गया है और उसके अंदर वो स्वयं मौजूद हैं। वो तस्वीर है जो तस्वीरें कभी झूठ नहीं बोलती।
बंसल साहब, आपने सुना राजपूत साहब ने जो कहा, अमित राजपूत हमारे कॉरेस्पॉन्डेंट हैं, प्रिंसिपल कॉरेस्पॉन्डेंट।
मैं पूछूं कुछ?
हाँ जी पूछिए।
मैं कहता हूँ गोधरा का कौन सा कार्यालय, विश्व हिंदू परिषद का कोई कार्यालय गोधरा में है क्या? कहाँ पर है वो, जरा उसका एड्रेस बता सकते हैं क्या? क्या विश्व हिंदू परिषद कार्यालय है? नंबर 1। नंबर 2, इन्होंने कहा कि राधेश्याम, क्या राधेश्याम विश्व हिंदू परिषद का कोई पदाधिकारी है क्या? नंबर 3, जो लोग अगर वहां से चले गए इसका मतलब क्या विश्व हिंदू परिषद के भगोड़े थे क्या? चौथी बात ये कि इनके पास विजुअल है तो विजुअल को दिखाए ना, आखिरकार कौन सा कार्यालय है जहां पर के विश्व हिंदू परिषद ने फैसिलिटेशन किया, और विश्व हिंदू परिषद कौन सा अधिकारी वहां पता? लेट मी सी।
देखिए, ये जो कार्यालय है, ये जो विश्व हिंदू परिषद के जो कार्यकर्ता हैं जिनके द्वारा ये स्वागत किया गया है, वो स्वयं वहां पर मौजूद थे और वहीं पे ही स्वागत हुआ है। उन्हीं का
नाम बताइए ना।
उन्हीं का ये कार्यालय है और उन्हीं के कार्यालय पे ये जो स्वागत की जो
हेलो बोलिए राजपूत साहब, बोलिए।
हेलो,
या वी कैन हियर यू।
राहुल जी थोड़ा करेक्शन करना पड़ेगा।
हेलो,
देखिए मैं आज पहली बार देख रहा हूँ
आपकी आवाज आ रही है राजपूत साहब। लेट्स कनेक्ट अगेन। Nizam bhai, let's connect with Mr. Rajput again. Yes, I think we lost him. Yes, Dr. Ranganathan has raised his hand. Yes, go ahead.
Yes, Rahul, very quickly, there are 3 issues. First of all, it was one of the most abhorrent crimes that India had witnessed. Absolutely despicable. The punishment was served. The men who committed that abhorrent crime were convicted. They served their sentences. The remission process, the Supreme Court adjudication was completely legal. But there are 3 issues here. Number 1, it is unacceptable, VHP or no VHP, to offer sweets to garland those who've come out after committing this abhorrent crime. Unacceptable. And I was the first one to condemn what Jayan Sinha did. Garland those lynchers convicted of lynching in Jharkhand. So totally unacceptable, abhorrent, appalling. Number 2, it is also appalling to have politicians as a member of those remission panels if it is exclusive to Gujarat or any other state. There is a straight conflict of interest. There should not be any politician, leave alone BJP or Congress or anyone, for deciding whether a remission should take place or not. And number 3, I am the one who condemns all these things universally, across that. I am agnostic to anyone who does it. बट जो आज आउटरीच कर रहे हैं उनके मुंह में दही क्यों जम जाता है जब कमलनाथ, द मोमेंट ही गेन्स ऑफिस इन 2019, टेक्स अ कैबिनेट डिसीजन वेयर ही विड्रॉज 50,000 केसेस अगेंस्ट कांग्रेस पीपल। उनके मुंह में दही क्यों जम जाता है जो आउटरीच कर रहे हैं जब बीएसपी एक कैंडिडेट चुनता है जो कि ऑफर करता है 51 करोड़ टू एनीवन हु बिहेव्ड चार्ली हेब्डो जर्नलिस्ट? उनके मुंह में दही क्यों जम जाता है तहसीन जैसे जब M.K. Stalin, the chief minister of Tamil Nadu, openly felicitates the killer of Rajiv Gandhi? मैं सबको कंडेम करता हूं, ये लोग सिलेक्टिवली क्यों कंडेम करते हैं? यही प्रॉब्लम है इस देश की।
Okay, that's a slightly different issue right now. We're discussing this particular issue, the Bilkis issue. We have discussed the others. We have had the DMK. We've cornered them, asked them why they were actually garlanding the assassin of Rajiv Gandhi, etc., or people who were sort of involved in that conspiracy. We've gone down that route. We've even attacked.
You did.
Yes, I did, of course.
You did.
I always,
the others never did.
I always do.
The others never did.
Always call out. I always call out palpable illegality. Of course, a whole ecosystem has built its entire career in suggesting that I don't, but that's on them, not on me. Nonetheless, forget about all of that. I want to bring in Mr. Poonawalla. Mr. Poonawalla, look, there are certain problems here. The MHA notification of SC's new direction, Gujarat made a new policy. New policy listed cases where remission could not be granted. Prisoners convicted of a crime investigated by agency like CBI and prisoners convicted for murder with rape or gang rape. So please listen to this. This was not supposed to happen. If you're convicted for gang rape, you can't be given remission. And therefore, I want to bring in the lawyer for the convicts here. Mr. Bansal has left the show. I don't know why. Mr. Rajput, we've got back. He's going to come out with the specific details in just a few moments. But Mr. Rishi Malhotra, I want to ask you this question. Prisoners convicted for murder with rape or gang rape, this is an MHA notification 2014 on SC's new directions. Gujarat made this new policy. So how are these people given remission, unless, of course, it was a totally political exercise with the polls just around the corner.
I'm very happy that you have asked me this proper question now.
Right, sir.
Because all the time what was discussed was post-release conduct, which is not relevant, to be very frank. Now, please don't forget the basic principle of law, which the Supreme Court has laid down, which is that a policy of remission would be applicable on a convict on the date of his conviction by the trial court. Now, in this case, the trial court had convicted the prisoner in 2008. So naturally, a 2014 policy will not have any retrospective effect for a 2008 conviction. So at that time, the policy which was in existence was year 1992. Now, the difference between the 92 policy and 2014 policy was that in 92, it again said 14 years has to be the minimum punishment. No. And 2014 policy also said...
Sir, no, sir, 1 second. 92, life imprisonment and arbitrary or notional figure of 20 years. 92 policy.
No. 92 policy, 2014 policy, both talks about minimum 14 years of imprisonment for a convict.
I don't know, because these are the facts that I have. I will have to cross-check this.
No, your facts are not correct, because I did this case. I have annexed both the policy in Supreme Court.
Okay, the 1992 remission policy was invalidated by the Supreme Court. Supreme Court in 2012 said remission can be given only on a case-by-case basis.
No, please try to understand the fundamental of law, actually, which is nobody has taken care of that.
Right.
2014 policy and 92 policy, the only difference was that in 2014 policy, there was a prohibition clause that in case a matter is investigated by a CBI or a rape case, the man would not be entitled for remission. Now, it's a settled law for Supreme Court for last 20 odd years.
Okay, so you're applying the law to the absolute last letter, and therefore you have come out and released them. People will say that the spirit of the law, the spirit of what... No, now let's talk about... I know, sir, you're not qualified to speak about the spirit, because that enters a more...
I hope and I trust all the panelists sitting here that nobody can question a wisdom of a Supreme Court judge. They have seen both the policies when I was arguing this case.
No, you can question.
92 policy
you can question the wisdom of any judge on earth. Perhaps the only judge you can't question,
I don't understand why,
because you have no agency to do so, is God. But certainly you can question the wisdom of the Supreme Court justices. So let's not put them on such a high pedestal. You know, the higher you put someone on a pedestal, the higher you put someone on a pedestal, sir, the further they can fall. So let's not do that to the poor Supreme Court justices. Their wisdom can be questioned. You have a system. No, please, sir, please. Please.
Rahul, I want to come in. Rahul, I want to come in.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Sanjay Hegde, lawyer to lawyer, Sanjay Hegde. 1 second. Yes.
See, there is no right to remission. There is a right to be considered for remission. Yeah. When you consider, you have to consider the entire facts. Here in this case, there was one petitioner who went to the Supreme Court. His facts were different. He was 70 plus. Maybe you could have considered it, saying that he's 70 plus at this stage, likely to be not to be a danger, etc., etc. On an individual case, individual accused, maybe. But here, all 11 wholesale, you take advantage of the judgment that one person has got. You do not figure out, you do not even ask the victims or ascertain from other people who are likely to take a broader view of society. Your parole committee,
victim has no place for a remission consideration. It is the state machinery. It is a district magistrate.
Well, viewers, I need to step in. I've run out of time. We've spent half an hour on this story. The resolution now, what we are coming to is, one side is saying we applied the law to its letter. Mr. Hegde says that there is a lacuna even there that needs to be addressed. There are others who are saying that you have to apply the law also. Justice must also be seen to be done. So spirit of the law must also be upheld, and that's where the problem is. I leave it to you to judge this, viewers. I leave it to you to judge. Even the felicitation, was it right or was it wrong? In my book, it's wrong. In my book, it's a terrible travesty. Yes, everyone has a right to be rehabilitated. but not felicitated as heroes, as icons. I leave it at that, viewers.